Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Budget Logistics, your logistics and supply chain explainer. Today, we're going to be continuing on with the theme of innovation this week, and really we're going to be talking about systems, as you can tell. And this is really going to tie to one of the main points from the last video of knowing what you have, because systems are one of the things that you can get new ones, but you really can't do it often, so you kind of have to use what you got for a while. And people don't really use their systems in the right way. They tend to not integrate with them really well. They tend to not utilize them in the way that they're kind of supposed to be, and they really don't think outside of the box of what they have. So we're going to be kind of digging into that. I'll give you some examples from my life and my work history. But first, I want to tell you a little story about something that happened to me this past weekend. So you're looking at the shirt, you would think, man, Matt loves seafood. And I do, but Matt also loves Chik Fil A. And I love Chik Fil A for a lot of reasons, mainly because it's fast. And whenever I go into the drive-thru, I know no matter how long a line is, it will not take me as long as I think it will. And a lot of that is because of their systems that they have to capture orders, to make food, to do all this stuff. It is really a very complex thing, and it's pretty amazing. So I came up, I ordered, as I was kind of driving through the drive-thru, an attendant was asking me, what do you want? I was telling him as I was continuing to drive. It's probably very unsafe, and he was able to place the order, and then within 5 to 10 minutes, I was able to get my stuff and go. And they were actually taking orders from 2 lanes and providing the right order to the right car across 2 lanes. I've seen them do at different Chik Fil A setups. I've seen them do up to 3 lines, fulfilling orders on 3 lines at the same time, from maybe 5 or 10 different people placing orders and putting them into the system. Now, if you know anything about IT systems and like how a WMS works, or if you've ever worked with those, you know that is complex. It is amazing that they're able to fulfill orders at that level and that scale across those different integrations so quickly. And they probably have a very robust system. They probably have a lot of development on the back end, a lot of customization on their side, because each Chik Fil A store, I would assume, is pretty unique, and each one is going to have some different things as far as how their layout goes and how they're able to stack cars and fulfill orders. But it's amazing, and it's complex, and it provides you with the next time you go through a Chik Fil A line, you'll be able to see like how innovative Chik Fil A is with their systems. And so I want to kind of dig into that because in the world of the supply chain, you're going to have to use systems. You're not going to be able to fulfill orders once you get to some scale. You're not going to be able to fulfill orders and hold inventory in the right spots in ways that will make your life easy. So you're going to have to rely on some systems, and you may not need all of the tech that you think you need. You may be able to get what you need, maybe at a smaller level and maybe cost a little bit less. And so you're going to be able to utilize that if you sort of think through things a little bit differently. Now, not to just make it Matt's supply chain story hour, but I have another story for you. And this one we'll dovetail off of it, but in a previous life, I was working for a large e-commerce retailer, and our warehouse was going through an update. We were adding on what's called an OMS, or an order management system. And at the same time, I was looking at transportation prices and going, wow, man, my existing contract is heavy, it's high. I'm not able to get the discounts that I want. And so I started looking at regional players. And so I was looking and saying, hey, I'm going to get better prices from this regional carrier, but I don't have a way to assign volume to them at the order level. And so the 2 things actually happened at once. We were going through a change. We were adding an OMS. We were doing a bunch of stuff, kind of systems integration, because what we had was really not working. We were hitting some upper thresholds with it. We were not able to use the software to meet the scale of our business. So part of that, we were adding the OMS. Now, inside of that, I started talking to my boss, who is part of the integration team, and saying, hey, look, I've got this idea, but I don't know how to send orders to them in the way that I want to. So we sort of chatted, and she goes, oh, in the new OMS, we're probably able to assign orders based off of either a state code or a geolocation or something like that. So maybe let's look at that. And we might be able to say, all orders going to, the state of Texas ship with this carrier, everything else ship with the other one. So we started looking at it, and turns out like, oh yeah, we can use our OMS, we can use the system that we're using for other things. We are able to use it in the way that I want to for this other added benefit. So on top of the rewards that we're going to reap from just adding the OMS and being able to fulfill orders differently, we were going to stack on some extra icing on top of that cake of going like, hey, Matt's also going to use this system in a different way to drop cost and save millions of dollars. Just by being able to change the way that the order is being routed and who the shipper or who the carrier is. So that gets me to my first point. I know we've talked a lot. That gets me to my first point of know what your system is, know what you have. If you only have a WMS, know how to use it. If you don't even have a WMS, if you just have Excel, right? Or whatever existing, maybe Shopify system or something else, know what you have. That is obvious. That is always the base for innovation, is to absolutely know exactly what you have and then learn what you can do and maybe new ways that you're not leveraging your system to be most effective. Like I said, you're going to need to know how the system works. And that's part of knowing what you have. You're going to need to know what the system, like how it works into somewhat minute detail. And this starts by asking questions of the developers or whoever you have that might be a subject matter expert in that field, and sitting down with them and saying, hey, can you walk me through how an order flows through this new system that we have, and tell me how it picks up things? Because typically the picture that comes to my mind of orders flowing through a system, right, from a customer placing an order all the way through to actual fulfillment, is that an order comes down and it acts like a snowball and it just starts picking up different things as it rolls through that system. Now, you need to understand how, like, what things it's picking up and where and how it's doing that. So there might be different things that are captured as far as, like customer information, maybe marketing or where that order actually came in from, or maybe other sites that person visited. But internally, you might add like, oh, it's got gift wrap. Oh, it's going to, certain zip codes. Oh, it's got, priority status. Oh, whatever. And you need to understand how those different things are getting added to that order so that by the time that it actually rolls out the door as this larger snowball, you need to know how it fixed. And then you can work backwards from that and say, oh, if I make a tweak at this particular point, then it will have these other effects, right? Like in the case of the OMS with my story, we were learning like, oh, orders, like we have the ability within the order management system to send this order to a different place. So we went, oh, it must be able to assign values based off of state codes or zip codes or something. So that gives me an idea of going, oh, I can use this OMS as a TMS or transportation management system, and I can change up the carriers at that level. It may not necessarily be, as fully fleshed as a normal TMS might be, but I can still use it to do the thing that I want to do. Next thing, right, if you're in logistics and you're watching the channel, you appreciate that everything in logistics is low budget. And so you're going to have to understand and really think about what systems do you have access to that you might already be paying for in a different way. One of my favorite things to do, again, in the world of e-commerce and domestic parcel, is utilize my parcel auditing services database. This is great. So parcel auditing, we'll talk about that in another video. But basically, they're looking at all of your shipments, they're doing a bunch of stuff, and they're capturing that data, and they're keeping it on their servers. Typically speaking, they'll allow you to have access back into that information, maybe for some nominal fee or something like that. I utilize that a lot because it relieves me of having to find servers and have a big database. And I can just put it on someone else's system, and I'm already using the service. I'm already paying the money for something else, and I'm going to get a different benefit out of that same service. So there's a lot of things that you can do with parcel data. My goodness, there's so much stuff to do with it. But that is just an idea of like, hey, what systems might you have access to that you don't utilize, you're not thinking about, and you may need to go back and see like, what can they do for me, and how can I best leverage them for what I want. And then lastly, you're going to have to ask the question, right? At some point, you're going to outgrow the systems that you're doing and the sort of the shoestring budget you're working on. And you might have to ask the question of, hey, I'm hitting upper limits. There's no way to utilize the systems that I currently have. And I'm going to have to make an investment in a new piece of software And so you're going to want to know all that and really be able to provide a dollar figure to, hey, here's what the price of the new system would be. Here's what it's going to get me, in terms of speed, fulfillment, timelines, all of that stuff. So you need to know, on the other side, know what you don't have and what it will cost to get there and what your return will be when you invest in that new system. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching today. The responses has just been phenomenal. Again, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, all of the stuff that you're doing. Comment if you have something. Other than that, I want you to know that I'm going to be doing a panel here probably at the end of next month in October. I'll put some more information out on that on all my socials. But I would love for you to join and just be prepared for that. So again, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, comment on the video, and I hope you have a fantastic day.